The Sleeping Beauty story is a really interesting one. And I don't mean the well-researched ancient roots and the different tellings of Sleeping Beauty, for those of you who are very well educated in these matters. I'm talking about the Disney version that most of us grew up with, right? Woman's in a coma. She's in a coma. She's out cold, right? And the right, socially sanctioned partner, the prince, comes along, kisses her, and she awakens. Ta-da! She comes back to life. She comes back to life. Wow, what is that story telling us? Sexual, erotic power, sexual, erotic feeling is not only something that comes from sexual acts, it comes from another person. And it has to be the right person. And this is right in keeping with good girl conditioning. The good girl is moderate in her appetites. She doesn't eat too much. She doesn't want too much. And she definitely doesn't desire sex unless it's initiated by the right, and in this case, royalty, partner. And then she feels the thing that supposedly wasn't in her all along for the first time. She comes back to life. The trick that this culture, or most cultures on the planet, not all, pull on a woman is to relegate her erotic experience of life and agency, not just to the sex act, but to the agency of another person. So, looking for partners, looking for the right one who knows how to do the right thing. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But what happens is there's a 2-degree step that starts to occur with something that's innate in us, our erotic energy. Our erotic energy is innate in us and ever present, right? First, it gets distanced out of our bodies. And then we have to perform sexuality in order to attract the thing that's going to make us wake up from a sleep we never really fell into. Do you see how crazy that is? I was studying to be a Taoist nun for 12 years. And I came to a point in my training where I became very, very interested in the difference between the male path and the female path. And for a little while, I was told that there's no difference, and I had to really, really look. And I ended up in China studying with one of the highest level female Taoist abbots in the world. These women were unlike anything I'd ever experienced in my life. It took me a while to figure out what I was seeing that was having such a huge impact on me. Because what I saw was this beautiful glow and this experience that this woman I was seeing was the tip, the like top 10% of a mountain or an iceberg or something that extended like 90% further down into the ground. It felt like you could not tip her over without tipping the whole planet over. The amount of rooting and the glow was unlike anything I'd ever seen. These are celibate nuns. And I noticed that one of the things they all absolutely had in common was this deep belly breath. And when I started, referencing all of the people that I knew, had I seen anything like this before, I could see the chest breathing disconnect from sexual organs that had a feeling of like nervousness, right? And the feeling that you could tip that person over very easily. And these rooted women were so sexy in a way that it took my mind 4 or 5 steps to be able to find that word. I'm like, well, what is it? This is so potent. This is so full of life. This is so hot. How is this so hot? So here's the sequence I see, right? Like this incredibly powerful, rooted, pussy belly breathing, erotic, full of life glow. And absolutely exquisitely beautiful, as well as like unshakable, unmessable with power, gets displaced on so many. So in the body, right, the breath moves up, the bottom gets tight, contracted, the pelvic bowl has very little energy circulating around in it. Attention wise, it goes out into the sex act and then out to another person who can maybe guess how to do the sex act right to make us feel great. The production model comes in, orgasms are gold stars instead of an everyday, every moment erotic feeling of what it's like to be alive and breathe that is satisfying and has no gold stars attached. The journey of a woman reclaiming her sexual power, her erotic power, her sensuality. Many of you here are well on that journey. Some of you are hearing these things for the very first time. And the beauty of wherever you are, you always stand to gain something from either the bodily practice of returning to a really, really rooted breath, or the psychological realization that you are erotically complete and can have a sensual experience of life moment by moment. Why is this important? Why is this important? It's exactly that in the present moment becomes your most finely tuned barometer and compass. So it's in that moment, is this alive or is it dead, right? Whether it's like a bunch of rules or an invitation or a request, is this alive? How much life is in this? Because sometimes things that are really fun to do and really wonderful to do have a little bit of struggle or a little difficult. Sometimes they're easy. Sometimes easy things don't have a lot of life in them. And the measure of how much life is in this is a much better model for growth than is it good or bad. The things you want to try, the ways you want to go, and then even communicating about it becomes easier because the signal of your body is aligned with the thing. This erotic life force body barometer is something that helps one make a choice about investments, what school to send your kids to, whether to quit a job. It's like, what has your body tell you the things it knows that your brain doesn't? You get on the same page. And it only happens in the present moment. Remember the places that we start to outsource or put our sexual attention out. I've seen so many women be in absolute, like, really painful infatuation because they gave so much of their erotic energy to another person that what they're actually looking for when they're looking towards that person to love them is to get their energy back. It's very, very easy to give it away. It's also very, very easy to notice that it comes from you, hold it, nourish it, nurture it, and honor it. And consider that it might be your best guide.